Listo. Ok, entonces, the last session, we were talking about the 3 different types of aims or objectives. We have the main aim, the subsidiary aim, and the personal aim. We discovered the characteristics of each type of aim. And the task was to analyze our own lesson plan and try to identify the main aim, the subsidiary aims, and the personal aims. Today, we are going to analyze the structure, the physical structure of a lesson plan. So maybe by realizing about the different stages, I need to have to make a complete and an appropriate lesson plan, and where I'm going to set each where the main aim goes, where the subsidiary aim goes, and where the personal aims go. Okay. We said that we would make a checklist for evaluating the effectiveness. So we saw and we read the difference between a complete and an incomplete main aim. We said that this main objective needed to have at least 5 or 6 elements, okay? Who remembers those elements?
It's who, what, when, why, and we can even include how.
Okay.
I'm missing some, right?
Yes, who, what, when,
why,
where, when, where. A ver, who, what, when, where, why
and how.
Why? Because ¿por qué? And
yeah.
How?
And how. Yes.
All right, excellent. So that is the checklist. I need to check with this short list if my objective is complete or not, okay? And identify in my own lesson plan the main aim, the subsidiary aim, and the personal aims. Yeah, we saw all the characteristics that we also need to take into account the sub-skills for each skill that will be developed in this lesson. And now we are going to see where we are going to put them, okay? So by the end of this lesson, you may or will be able to distinguish the different components involved in a lesson plan. Apply different components to this lesson plan, okay? So now we saw the spine. Now we are going to see the arms, the chest, the waist, the legs, the head. We are going to start building the lesson plan, okay? So this is going to be very, very interesting. First, whatever the structure of your lesson plan is, how much time do you spend on preparing your lesson plan? For example, I remember that at the beginning when I started teaching, when it took me like the whole evening because I needed to plan the whole week. And I needed to carry a lot of books. But with time, I just made notes and then I was able to make it faster. But more or less, not the semestral thing, per class, per week. I have had some teachers
In my
that,
case, when
Mhm.
I do the big thing, like what you said at last the semester, when I plan the semester, it takes me like a whole evening, 1 or 2 days, maybe. And for a day class, it take like between 1 hour and two to plan the 5 days of the week.
Okay. And for example, these hours, so this time includes the preparation of the material.
Yes,
Okay.
because I mostly use PowerPoint, and sometimes I use Word document because I'm working with college guys, so it's not the same. I used to work in basic education, but a while ago. So yeah, in when I was in there, it took me more time than what it is taking me now.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
Thank
Excellent. So average is like 1, 2 hours, or maybe we just recycle previous lessons we have taught. Uh-huh. And well, that's very quick. Uh-huh. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, the period of time you take in planning and preparing your lesson, no, it's not, how can I say it? It's not the thing. Uh-huh. It doesn't determine if you are making a good or a bad plan. No, you can spend 3 hours planning something that probably has no purpose. Mhm. Or you can spend like 1 hour, 30 minutes, and you are planning a fantastic class, no? Entonces, the period of time doesn't mean that is a good or a bad lesson plan, okay? Luego, what do you include in a lesson plan? What do you need personally to include in your lesson plan? Because normally we plan for ourselves, no? So what information do you need to include so you feel comfortable and confident when using your lesson plan?
In my case, teacher, to be honest, in the past, like before the previous session for this model, I didn't add like the objective, like not written. I knew what was the objective. Like I knew what was the objective at the end of the class for my students. I knew that, but it was not written, you know. And now I added, but usually I write like the time that I have to spend on each activity and a description of what I'm going to do. And I am, to be honest, I am a very visual person. So I sometimes add some little drawings to help myself remember what I'm gonna do. And I also add the, for example, if I'm gonna explain a specific grammar, I add my graph that I'm gonna use in the class, you know, because I have always thought about planning my lesson the way that if I don't go to class, someone can use my lesson and also give the class, you know. But I mean, I give a brief description, but detailed enough for you to understand what is going to be about, and also help me because at the moment that I teach, I did the lesson. I know what I'm gonna do, but still, I sometimes go back to my my notes and go forth and on. But to be honest, I think that I spend a lot of time doing my lessons teacher because yes, I have taught the courses that I teach now, but I have to adapt them to my students because every course is different. And I, even though I have university level, I have to create flashcards or some games and some material that I have to make. So I include my material, the time, the activity, and I divided like warm up and then the take role and then the activities or drills that I use. That's what I include in my lesson.
Okay, very good. So we can say that the lesson plan needs to have a lot of details in order that you don't forget something special, and you keep the track of the original plan, no? Okay, very good. And that point of writing your lesson plan is in case someone needs to come to cover your class, because you never know. It's good. So it's not just like watching your group, is that they are taking advantage of that time too. Okay. So how do you feel when you are about planning? Do you think it's a waste of time? Do you think it's useful? Is extra workload?
It's very useful because that way we have detail all the aspects we're going to cover in the class. For example, when I take up more time when it's the start of the semester, is when I plan like the big panorama, what I'm gonna do during the whole semester. And then, well, my classes are mainly during the weekends. So for example, if I have to design, I think about it as a weekly plan, like if I were gonna teach from Monday to Friday, but I do it in one day. So then I prepare my material. I don't take a long time doing that. But during the week, I'm doing like notes in a notebook. I do it in a notebook. I mean, I do a Word document. But then for example, I teach Saturday and Sunday. I do in handwritten. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I detail it, for example, and I'm gonna do this activity. I'm gonna use this exercise, and I even write the answers and on all of that. Well, in my case, what I'm missing, and that's something important that I'm going to consider, if someone has to cover me, to have that backup information so that someone can give my class. And that's what I do. And I am doing kind of a portfolio where I have, for example, this is course, I don't know, basic one. And I have already prepared the PowerPoint presentations, and I'm adding exercises. I usually use Word documents, for they have one Word document for each unit of the module. And we have eight units, so that they have an evidence folder for the end of the module. And that's how I'm working until now. But I'm trying to adapt different activities, that they're not only like written or pair job. I'm trying to think about how to do outside of the classroom activities, which is what I haven't done till now. And that's what I am very interested in all of the classes. I'm just using my notebook. It's got a lot of pages already written, because I'm really interested in on all your class. Thank you, teacher.
No, thank you. Entonces
In my
we
case,
agree.
when I plan my class,
Yes.
it makes me feel so confident, and the students feel it that the class goes smoothly. So if I plan my class, I feel so confident.
Because the students notice, no, when you are prepared and when you are not prepared. When you know exactly where you want to take them, and when you are improvising. Sometimes improvising is not bad, and sometimes it's necessary. And the management of improvisation is the reflection of your expertise. If you have enough experience, for you, it's going to be easier to improvise. It's going to be very difficult to improvise for young teachers. But that doesn't mean, because we have plenty of experience, that we shouldn't plan anymore. Okay, entonces, we agree on the idea that planning is really important. Okay, so these are some of the key points and information that we need to include, at least in the first lesson plan. This is the opening of the lesson plan. It's not necessary to include every single element of this page. Probably at the opening of each unit, or module, as you call it, because there's going to be some information that may change, okay? So the first element I need to have is the class profile. I need to know, especially probably not in basic education, in preschool education, age is essential because depending on the age, the capacities and the abilities of the students are going to change. It's not the same a kid who is 3 years old than a kid who is 4 or 5 years old. And in the case of preschool teachers, it's important. The level, the gender, because the gender influences on the motivation and the interest. The number of students, because based on that, you are going to plan some activities, some management of the class, to have the control of your class, the strengths, the weaknesses, which I consider these are two very important elements, special necessities, class dynamics, if they get along each other, if there is some going on something there, or maybe, I don't know, the time, I don't know, something that you may observe, so you take it into account, and special cases. Always there is going to be someone who may need something special. So from here, you choose the elements that may help you and which you consider is necessary and essential to make a proper class profile, okay? Then we have the timetable fit. The timetable fit is how the lesson fits into the syllabus, the previous knowledge, and how it is linked to the present content. Entonces, here in the timetable fit, I'm going to include the things that they already know or the things that we saw the previous class, the knowledge they already have from previous lessons, and how it is connected to the topic or the grammatical structure I'm going to analyze in this lesson plan. For example, if I'm going to teach present continuous or future continuous, the students needed to have probably a revision, a class before about the spelling of verbs ending in ing. When you double the N or when you exchange the Y for an E and things like that. So we are going to say previous class spelling of verbs ending ing. Imagine that you are absent and I see future continuous. And I don't know what you did before, and maybe I consider that this spelling ing, or probably I notice that your students are not writing properly these ing verbs, and I say, híjole, pues es que el teacher no lo vio. Entonces, instead of presenting the following structure, I go back, and I teach it in a different way, with different words, with a different method. And instead of helping the students, they are confused. And when you come back, you realize that the lesson was not delivered in the way you were indicating in the lesson plan you left. And you have a second problem because the students now are confused. Entonces that's why it's very, very important to keep in mind what you saw previously, okay? So probably you can say, no sé, verb spelling, or for example, if you are going to see comparatives and superlatives, introduction of adjectives. Short and long adjectives, maybe. Just like a brief note for you to know. So in here, you are going to see what you saw before, or what your students discovered in the previous class, and how this previous knowledge is linked to the topic or the grammar you are going to present in this class, okay? It can be knowledge or also can be activities. For example, you made the pre-reading. This class, you are going to deliver the while and the post, part of the post. So in order to keep the track, write in this section what you did before. Now the aim, I have another description for aim. Your aim should be SMART. S for a specific, very concrete and concise. They are going to write sentences. They are going to know or have the first approach to. They are going to use correctly. Say exactly what the students are going to do. Measurable. It can be formally or informally. You should be able to observe exactly that your students are doing something. In case you need to give them a grade, imagine that you are going to evaluate them every single class. Every single activity needs to be evaluated to see if you can continue or if you need to go backwards. Attainable. Within the skills, taking into account the limitations and abilities your students have. Relevant. Why? Because, ¿por qué? Yes, they are going to work with the video, no sé, the life of Donald Trump. No? Sí, pero what? If you are not analyzing biographies, or you are not analyzing narrative past tenses, you are analyzing, no sé, conditionals, and probably the video is not suitable with what you are doing, so it needs to be related. And time bound. This is very important. By the end of this lesson, by the end of the week, by the end of the semester, by the end of the year, or by the end of the millennium. So also this aim will be very clear for the students, and they will know that this aim will be achieved during this or the following lesson. So if they will have enough time to work and meditate, or if they will need to work very, very quickly and pay a lot of attention, okay? Entonces, another way to call or to think about the appropriacy of your main aim is that it is SMART. Entonces, this can be also our checklist, no? SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, or I can use the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Then I'm going to write the assumptions, the previous schemata, the previous knowledge, the schemata they have. How I'm going to know this? Because I consider this. So it's supposed in intermediate 6 that they know is the regular verbs in past, the pronunciation. So in this class, I'm not going to focus on the pronunciation. Yeah, I go directly to the structure. Maybe my presentation of vocabulary will be higher. Expressions, linkers, etc., etc. But no, because of the level, basic things like the pronunciation of regular verbs in past. Probably I may find in the end that although they are advanced 365, but they don't know the pronunciation. And probably what I will need to do is adapt my next day class and take a few minutes for them to practice. I'm not going to introduce it as if it were the first time. Probably I'm going to have a kind of revision or practice because it's supposed that they know it, no? Entonces, that's why it's so important to set the assumption so I go straight to the point, ya no digo, ah, no, pues entonces, como voy a ver las hipérbolas, pues entonces voy a hacer una revisión de los pronombres personales I, you, with it. No, o sea, if you are analyzing hipérbolas, pues ya digo, it's not logical that we are going to check personal pronouns. It's supposed that if they are now skillful enough to work with these hyperpoles, pues the personal pronouns are there, no? I need to think about the anticipated problems and solutions. I prepare, for example, you said, I prepared my PowerPoint. What about if the school has no light? Because something happened with the installation of the light. They are repairing the cables or something like that. What I'm gonna do? And I prepared my beautiful PPT. So I need to have a plan B, no, always. Or for example, híjole, I'm going to make a beautiful project in Teams. Y de repente, Chucho y Pedro se agarran a moquetazos. Bueno, no se agarran a moquetazos, pero they have a discussion. I need to be prepared enough to foresee those situations. It's probably a very absurd example, no, but I need to be prepared. So if I foresee the possible problems, I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to make wiser decisions. You are going to be relaxed and tranquil. You are not going to you are not going to lose the control of yourself. Remember, I wear the oxygen mask first and then I help the others. So the teacher needs to be very, very relaxed in order to make proper decisions, because it's the way the brain, again, the brain works like that. I was listening in the morning to the news And in Estado de Mexico, there was a man who got, who lost the control of his emotions because of the traffic. I don't know exactly what happened in the traffic. And he lost the control, and he ran over a group of people and he killed a 7-year-old child. Entonces, these emotions, this angerness lasts only 20 seconds. Analyze your emotions. And first, when you get mad, is 20 seconds. And in 20 seconds, you can act like this and you can reject that that action, that response, negative response you have. Entonces, I need to be very, very controlled in case something like that happened, because now, unfortunately, these violent situations are happening in the classroom. They are happening in schools. O sea, every single day there are news of children who are fighting, or they are trying to hurt the teacher and things like that. So try to avoid and create a nice environment so the knowledge and the learning can be produced. But not necessarily the emotional part. No, can also be that if you ask them to, no sé, to deal with a debate, no, maybe the book talks about, no sé, abortion or those very strong topics, and something happens, you need to be prepared in order to stop the activity at change. Or maybe, híjole, you prepare the super activity aquí, you said, no, hombre, sí, ya vieron esto, and they find it very, very difficult to do it, no, to develop. And what you do, how are you going to help your 50 students? So in case this activity doesn't work in the exactly way I planned in my lesson plan or in my mind, I need to foresee solutions. I had a boss, it's a friend of mine, and she used to tell us, when you go to Disneyland, you don't see ahí el señor del Mickey Mouse poniéndose, acomodándose el traje, the head and everything, no? When you get into Disneyland, you see everything prepared because they create the magic of the class, of the place, in such a way that you forget where you are and you are totally immersed in the environment. You really, although you are an adult, you really believe that Mickey Mouse is there, although there is someone inside the costume. We should prepare the classes like this to create all the magic. Although they are college students, they need to have this mental motivation to create the environment. No sé, receive your students with music, nice PowerPoint presentation. Probably you can change the template. You use different materials, but also offering that may cause some problems. So think about the possible solutions so you don't ruin the magic of your class. The materials and resources, what I'm going to use, picture cards, DVD, bueno, DVD doesn't exist anymore, pero projector, PPT presentation, the app, etc. At the beginning, when I was starting teaching, I prepared, pero así beautiful and spectacular classes, and suddenly, híjole, se me olvidaron las fotocopias en la mesa. No, entonces sí I needed to change the activity, no? It was related to the possible problems and solutions. And preparing the material is to make sure that you have everything you plan in your computer or in your school bag. Since designing the material, the purpose, etc., we are going to see later how to prepare this material and resources and make sure that you have them for your class. The procedure, esta sí es super important, and you will have it always in your lesson plan. Every single step you are going to make in the class. The warm up, the leading, the beginning, the development, and the production. How you are going to evaluate. And in the procedure, we are going to have different elements. And always, always, always to have an evaluation activity. Remember, evaluation can be just observing and judge, decide if you can carry on or if you need to go back, reteach something, polish something, and then continue with the topic. So in general, these are like the ingredients of a lesson plan. And if you see, some of them can be very basic, no? O sea, we are not going to include probably the class profile in every single lesson plan, but at least to have this present. So based on this, I am going to be able to choose and to design proper activities for the kind of students I have, okay? And I think the assumptions and the timetable fit was probably can be included, the aim, of course, the materials, of course, the anticipated problems and solutions, of course. So now, how I'm going to allocate these elements in my lesson plan? Pues bueno, I have a table. So in here, I'm going to write the class profile, the main name, the timetable fit, the assumed knowledge, anticipated problems and solutions, materials and resources, procedure, and evaluation, okay? In summary. I need to set also what I did or what I'm going to do before the lesson, during the lesson, and after the lesson. So apart from this important information, I need to know what happened in the previous lesson, probably the main name from the previous lesson plan, what they are going to do during the lesson, and what is going to happen after the lesson. For example, during the lesson, I need to have the timing, very important, so I can be conscious about the period of time I spend on every single activity. Check the sequence, that you have a pre, a while, and a post, presentation, practice, and production, test, teach, test, in task-based learning, setting or checking the previous knowledge, setting the task, developing the task, and presenting the task, depending. And after the lesson, keep record what happened during the lesson. The teacher said, es que I have a notebook and I make notes. That is very important. And if you keep your lesson plan in the same document, in the same notebook for all the classes, pues you can keep the record and you can compare the comments you made at the very beginning of the semester and how your students have improved. Or I hope they don't, but the help they still need, no? The things that they haven't improved, and check and analyze why they haven't improved those points. So I need also to have this sequence, okay? Entonces, let's make a stop. I'm going to give you a minute. You have your lesson plan. From these, check what elements do you have in your lesson plan and which ones are missing. If you have class profile, the timetable fit, if you take into account the timetable fit and the assumptions, bueno, we saw that you have a main name. If you foresee the problems and possible problems and solutions, the materials, if you describe the process, and if you take into account the evaluation part, okay? So 1 minute. Okay. Entonces, have you discovered what elements are you missing? Now, personally, don't tell me. Do you consider that based on the situation and the kind of students you are teaching, these elements are necessary? Yes, no, or what do you think? Because remember that this is based on what the terms and ideas and concepts may be included in the exam. But why not, apart from doing well in my Tkt exam, identify the areas of opportunity I have in my lessons? Entonces, probably not all of them are going to be necessary and essential because of the level of the students I teach, or because of the kind of classes I deliver. But maybe if I take them into account, for example, from time to time, pues may help me to improve my planning, okay? All right. A ver. Entonces, these are the ingredients, no? The elements. Entonces, I need to set this at the very beginning, and another element that is going to be included in the lesson plan is or are going to be these different stages. What is going to happen before the lesson, during the lesson, and after the lesson. Okay? Entonces, I can make it as a way of list. Ajá, lo puedo hacer en una lista. This is a format. Entonces, always the main name. Remember the characteristics of the main name. Ah, entonces aquí lo vamos a hacer todos juntos. I wrote smart. Who can remember the meaning of this acronym?
Me. It's a specific,
Ajá.
measured,
Ajá. Measurable. Ajá.
attainable,
Ay,
measurable,
espérame. Sí, bueno. Ajá.
attainable, relevant, and time
Bound. Okay. Very good. Or the other one that we learned the previous session was the super questions, no? Can be. Who, what, when, where, why, because, por qué, y how. Just with these elements, I'm going to decide or I'm going to design my main name. Okay. Another element is the subsidiary aim. The personal aim. What is the subsidiary aim?
The little steps that contribute or little to the main
Aim. Excellent. Entonces, in here, I'm going to say what little step or what activity is going to be added in order to achieve the main aim. Luego, the personal aim. The personal aim is for the teacher or is for the students?
Is what,
For
how
the
can I
teacher.
improve myself?
Yes,
as
for
a
the
teacher?
Yes, it's for the teacher. How can I improve? Very good. And the materials. Yes, I need to say what materials are going to be used. For example, someone is going to cover my class. How he is going to use the material I planned, or imagine that I need to leave the school así very quickly because of an emergency. That is a possible problem, no? In case I need to leave the school, bueno, the teacher is going to have an editable link, or the presentation está en el drive, o está, no sé, I'm inventing, yes? So anyone who may come in my class can be able to continue with the session. The information about the class. This is another way of list. Or listing your lesson plan. Information about the class, profile, timetable feed, previous knowledge, ¿qué más? No sé, timetable feed, assumption, anticipated problems, a special note about the class, etc. The main aim, the subsidiary aim, the personal aim, and the material. For me, I don't like this format when I'm in list, because I consider that it's much better to have a table with every single element developed. This is very general. Luego, the assumptions, the anticipated difficulties with tasks, and the solutions. This is the format the university asks the students to deliver for one class to be observed in the Tkt practical. So for this special session, what was the main aim? What was the subsidiary aim? The personal aim, the materials, the information about the class, main aim. Ah, pues es lo mismo. Subsidiary aim, materials y lo demás. Ajá. For example, in the case of Ceneval, for example, when they ask for this evaluation lesson plan, they ask you for the, es que una cosa es el topic de la clase, and the other one is the objective of the class. Uh-huh. Entonces we can say like this, that in here you are saying the topic, what the general idea of the class is, and specifically in this lesson, what you are going to do in order to achieve this big aim, okay? I prefer something like this, that after doing this, you needed to include a table like this. So you have, if it is vocabulary or grammatical structures, you have the form, the formula, the meaning. For example, present simple, meaning future timetables. Phonology del vocabulario, for example, timetable, bus, train, platform, etc. No, the vocabulary with the proper phonemic symbols and stress. The anticipated problems, especially for this activity, which may be the presentation of vocabulary, and the solutions. Entonces aquí podría yo poner, if it were vocabulary, vocabulary related to a train station, present simple timetable, or for future, yes, for future, present simple for future meaning. Meaning, talk about or describe timetables. The vocabulary with all the phonologies and the phonemical characteristics, the anticipated problems and solutions. The same in grammar. You give an example, or you say the name of the structure, what is going to be the meaning or the intention. For example, in phonology, remember that not always are the phonemic symbols, but you can include the intonation, the stress, the inflection, etc. And have the anticipated problems and solutions. Then, for example, if you are going to carry out with an activity where you are going to develop a skill, you say listening for gist. Task for skill development. Students will listen to a conversation, and students will explain or will explain in their own words the general idea. Luego, how you are going to prepare the students for this listening for gist. Pues maybe I'm going to make a presentation of vocabulary. Key vocabulary so students can infer and deduce the general idea. Or list reading for specific information. or for analysis, what that is when they are identifying a grammatical structure. Here I describe this activity and reading for specific information and preparing the students for tasks, pues rescue or activate previous knowledge of present perfect. So they are going to analyze how present perfect is used when using since and for, because probably that is my objective. So how I'm going to do in order to achieve this activity, and as well the anticipated problems and solutions. Another, for me, this one is appropriate. I like it because I have everything prepared. Even I can practice and have the phonemic symbols in advance, so I can help very, very well my students, and I can practice in order I need to check the pronunciation of something in advance. Híjole, es que me lastima un buen los ojos. And in here, for example, to identify what is the pre, what is the while, what is the post. Identify exactly what they are going to do and what they are going to develop in this skill. If it is oral, written, spoken, reading, or listening, and what possible problems and solutions I will offer to my students, okay? You can also divide your lesson by stage. Este me gusta más. I like this one because it's really complete, but also I like this one. You have the stage of the class, for example, the warm-up, the lead-in, the presentation, the practice, the production, the evaluation, reflection, and goodbye, no? In here, you say, what is the purpose of this warm-up? Pues activate students' schemata, to provide time or latecomers opportunity to arrive, or make a quick revision of vocabulary seen the previous class, etc. Checking the homework in order to revise if the students have a question or not about what we saw or analyzed the previous class. Entonces, in here, you say, call the roll, make a revision, play spelling bee or tic-tac-toe to revise vocabulary, and immediately I go to the lead-in to set the context. Entonces, telling an anecdote about my tía Paquita, and then the presentation, depending on what I'm going to present, or the pre-listening or the pre-reading, the while and the post. Probably free practice, the feedback, and the evaluation or the reflection. Because also we need to say, we need to ask the students, what did you learn? So tell me something new that you got today. I asked my students, a ver, even adults, tell me, tell me a new word you learned today. Pues escuché la palabra vaquita marina, and I know that this means this, and the correct phonemic pronunciation is this, like that. Profe Efraín, you raised your hand.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I have a question. If we are following up a book, we have, of course, the planning to be based on the book's material. However, we adjust your adjustments that you have just commented should be given including, of course, the vocabulary or the grammatical structures from the book, and also besides that, some extra vocabulary related to the topic. I mean, for example.
If you consider that because of the characteristics of your students, something may be added as vocabulary, for example, expression or something like that, yes. As long as it helps them to understand or to solve correctly the reading or the listening activity.
So, for example, if let's suppose that in this case we are using NetGeo. So there is chapter 6. The main topic is danger. So we the activities, the listening, the grammar, everything is related to danger, harmful activities, and so forth. So we have to, if some students are struggling with pronunciation, with some expressions, we should include words related to the topic, right? For not getting them confused. Like I am practicing, I don't know, if the main topic is danger, I will not practice using words related to astronomy or to, I don't know, to science.
Exactly.
Okay.
In Nat Geo, you have readings, no? And you have listenings. Entonces, go over those readings and listenings and you say, híjole, es que, no sé, esta palabra no la van a entender. And they need, no sé, ya me voy a poner muy piquismiquis. They need the meaning of this word because otherwise they are not going to understand the whole text. Or it may cause confusion, or they may feel not confident, or they are going to be struggling because they don't know this specific word or expression. Entonces, as part of the pre-reading, I introduce the word. Don't worry because I'm present. Probably in this moment, you say, híjole, ¿qué es esto? I have a lot of things. ¿Cómo lo voy a acomodar? But what we are going to do is design, because the format is not important. In list, if I write this or that, if I include the phonemic symbols, bueno, for me it's very useful. But we are going to come up with a standard that we are going to follow to deliver the lesson plan that you have for the final evidence, okay? Entonces, don't worry about the format yet. We are going to analyze it and do it in another way, okay? Entonces, I can have each statement, each stage, the aim or the subsidiary aims for each stage. Remember that I have my main name. And in the main name, I have different skills, ¿no? ¿Se acuerdan del de? The students may be able to, okay, to say the plans for the future, make invitations and reject those invitations and whatever. Do you remember that? Aquí. It says, by the end of the lesson, the learner will have practiced and will be better able to talk about and ask about people's arrangements. Entonces, in this first part of the aim, I have will be able to talk about and ask about people's arrangements. Entonces, we said that they need to know about present continuous for future, ¿no? Entonces, probably if they show me, if in my book I have this main name, what would be the assumption I have? Remember, assumption is what is supposed the students know. If they are going to talk about people's arrangements, pues is supposed que at least they know, or if I'm going to introduce present continuous with future meaning, I'm not going to present present continuous again. Here, present continuous is subject, auxiliary is, are, y luego ing, y luego vamos a revisar los ing. Fíjense that when you are going to write ing, there are some spelling rules, y blah, 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 and all my class is focused on that. I'm sidetracking the main aim, because in here is practice and we'll be better able to talk about arrangements. They don't say represent or make a remedial word or present present continuous for future meaning. Si ya van a practicar and they are going to be better able to talk, entonces, this means that they have previous knowledge that present continuous is used for future, and they have previous knowledge of how present continuous is formed. Entonces, I don't need to go so backwards. I assume, I make the assumption that the students know this, entonces I don't have to teach again the present continuous y el ing. Now is the practice of this intention especially. They know that is for, I assume that they know that present continuous is used for future and for present. This is my assumption. Entonces, from this assumption, I'm going to give them further practice, because in here the aim says practice, no dice presentation. And sometimes that is the mistake we commit. Entonces, I need to have very, very clear first on what I want. I want to introduce or I want them to practice. Luego dice, invite someone to do something. Say yes or no to invitations and to make arrangements. Invite someone to do something. Say yes or no to invitations. If the main name or the main verb is have practice, will have practice. In here, I'm not going to introduce expressions or idioms to invite someone. That is the assumption I have. No, pues yo creo que ya saben. They should know because they are going to practice. And they know the difference between formal and informal English. Idioms that can be used in formal situations and formal situations. And how to link this idea with the asking or making invitations, and in order of the based on the answer I get, to make an arrangement. Entonces, in this case, I need to be very, very aware, and I need to understand very, very well what the meaning of my main name is. Entonces, es practice. No voy a presentar ni vocabulario, ni grammar, ni idioms, ni nada. It's just practice. Maybe possible problem and solution. What do you think? What do you think the possible problem and solution may be here? Or the possible problem? If the assumption is that they already know that present continuous is for future arrangements. They have expressions to invite and reject invitations. And based on this, they know how to make an appointment. A possible problem may be that they don't recall very well the idioms. They need further practice or more controlled practice. The solution, I'm going to give them a list of idioms just in case they don't know it. I'm going to have my list printed and ready. If they know it, pues ya no se las doy, and I recycle this material. But if they don't recall, I'm going to give them, or I'm going to share with them this list so they can activate or they can learn more. But the original meaning or the original aim, purpose of this lesson is not exactly to present that material. That may be a problem I may face. So I need to be prepared to solve the problem. Not always the problem needs to be related to the material I use or the attitude of the students. Can be related to the previous knowledge. So I need to make a very quick revision. Or as students, elicit from students, in there I use this scaffolding, I take advantage of the advanced students and help me to recall, to make a very quick revision, because the main aim of my class is not presenting or reinforcing. Ya eso ya lo saben. Now is the free production. I don't know if I'm clear. And if you can see now the difference between the main aim and the subsidiary aims, the possible problems and solutions. Okay. Ahora, how it is important to keep the track and really understand the main aim. Porque muchas veces we follow the rhythm of the students, no? And we tend to forget the track, and I start again. No, pues es que yo les presento. I have had teachers that tell me, ay, no, pues es que yo les presento los verbos y hacemos un repaso de verbos regulares, irregulares, y luego en ing, luego no sé qué, y se van, y se van, y se van, y el main name, ay, se quedó volando. Because we assume, that is the assumption, that the students don't have yet or are struggling. Me voy a mover tantito para acá. Are struggling with the previous knowledge they have. That's why it's important to make the evaluation at the end of every single class, so I can see the progress. I can progress with my students. And I don't waste my time and reteach over and over the same students. Y los students así como con cara de ya me hice bolas, or we are dismotivating them. Okay? Acá. So this part is really important. I need to make a reflection about one of the SMART elements is measurable and appropriate, no, that you can see it's attainable. If it is not attainable for your students, what happened in the class? What went wrong? What the students didn't understand? Could I have probably presented the same thing in a different form? Could I have said something different? Probably the delivery of the activities was very controlled, and what they needed is more freer practice. So analyze and reflect on the students' development. Also, the students need to reflect on their own work, because remember that we are inviting them to be autonomous and to be independent. So they need to make this self-evaluation. And the teacher, did I achieve what I stated? Did I went back? Or did I go back, sorry? It wasn't enough time for me. O sea, imagine that you have 5 activities and you only cover 2. What happened? What did I do wrong? What happened? There was a mistake in the time, in the activities. Probably I needed to take more classes for this activity. I don't know. So this reflection is part of the evaluation. We need to ask ourselves how the procedures we choose help the students achieve our aims. What I was saying, no? If we are going to present or we are going to give further practice, I don't need to reteach, because instead of achieving this goal, I'm achieving another goal that is not even planned for this lesson. Or maybe the opposite. I have this main name and the students are not prepared. So I need to improvise an activity, an extra activity, omit something in my lesson plan in that moment, so the students can achieve what I originally planned for them. Variety of students, of activities, students, and interaction patterns is important. They need to listen to each other. Sometimes advanced students may help the basic students. We must be ready to improvise, change, and adapt the lesson and the material. Híjole, esta no, ya vi que tienen este gap. No van a poder con el reading. No, pues el reading no lo hago. I keep with the written practice y ya mañana hacen el reading. No, so I'm changing. We are going to take the break now, because now all this information that is floating around, that is in the air now, we are going to land it in a document. And maybe I can use a book as a sample to create the lesson plan format and allocate and design and write these elements. So now we have the theory. Now we are going to land it, okay? Entonces it's 10:23 in 10 minutes, so 10:33, okay? Entonces I'm going to post y ahora sí, repítanme.
Yes, well, I said special necessities, but
For
could be
example,
the same. Could be the same case that the I don't know who told it, but could be the same, right? Special necessities or special cases, as he told us.
They need special and personal attention, ¿no?
Attention could be, yeah.
Ajá, ok. Entonces, there you are describing and you keep in mind these characteristics of your students, okay? If you consider other aspects to be important at the moment you are making this class profile, that is up to you, okay? All right. Ahora, timetable fit. What is a timetable fit? Is how the lesson fits into the syllabus, previous knowledge, and how it is linked to the present content. Pues very easy. This is the writing. Let's go backwards to see what they analyzed. A ver. This is the unit. Oh, no. Aquí. Here we have the unit opener, ¿no? Pues they saw possessions, possessive adjectives and pronouns. Creo que apostrophe S for possession. Information about traveling. Personal information. Describing places, should, shouldn't. They planned a vacation. They saw, pues they are describing a place. Ok. Entonces, timetable fit. In this case, what I'm going to add is what they saw previously in the lesson. Possessive adjectives, possessive pronouns. ¿Qué más vimos? Describing places, personal information. ¿Qué más? Should, shouldn't. So in this case, it's supposed that they don't need to, they know this. I don't need to teach again. If I detect that something is not correct, I'm not going to stop to teach it again. Because it's supposed that this is the previous knowledge they have. So they are going to be able to achieve this final product. Because they are going to give information, you should, you shouldn't, etc., etc. ¿Ok? Entonces, eso es lo que saben. All right. Ahora, the assumption. Vamos a poner el assumption. What do you think they already know if they are here?
They know how to put the adjective and the noun adjective order.
Okay. What else? Based on the timetable fit. Personal pronouns. Personal information. What else? Porque they are going to write a short description of a different place. Things like sightseeing, festivals, places for relaxation, food, etc. Pues at least adjectives, ¿no? Vocabulary. Maybe this one no. Porque they are not going to fill in any format. Ajá. Because it's a description, yo asumo que ya saben esto. Maybe this is unit 1. I don't really know what comes in the unit. This is unit 3. I don't know what came in unit 2 and unit 1. And this is book. This is book 1. Pues no sé. I don't know. Probably they saw it. No sé. Los maestros que llevan este libro. What
I
do
can
you
tell
see?
Unit
What?
1 is about the verb be with adjectives, and the vocabulary is occupations. Unit 2, it is the do and does, present, simple present, and I don't remember the vocabulary.
Entonces they have this previous knowledge. Entonces pues ya está. That's why they are asking them for that. Okay. Luego dice anticipated problems and solutions. A ver, based on this, what do you think the possible problems and solutions they have?
The number one problem, they mix, they put together the verb be and the another verbs. They say, I am like, I am want.
Okay.
That they don't know the vocabulary.
Okay, entonces, possible problem. Ay, personal. Possible problems and solutions would be. Pero a ver. Ajá, sí, entiendo. The possible problems and the problem you are giving me is related to what they have seen before. Because you told me that in unit 2 they saw present simple, no? Or in unit 1, no sé. If they still have this mistake, entonces, in that specific lesson, although you identify the problem, you continued. You didn't do the remedial work. And related to this objective, to this activity, that problem shouldn't appear. O sea, I should concentrate on this. What possible problem and solution they may have by doing this, no the misunderstanding or the lack of practice they had before. Porque entonces aquí yo me estoy metiendo el pie, estoy poniendo lo que yo no he trabajado y practicado con mis alumnos, no he solucionado ese problema y continúo. Si ellos ya dedicaron una unidad para ver presente simple, ese problema ya no debería existir porque yo ya lo detecté y ya hice un remedial work. I don't know how to structure a description. Ajá. They don't know how. Ok. Entonces, a ver, profesor Héctor. Yes. Lo mismo, pero más bonito. based on this objective, your problem is perfect, but how can you direct the problem you are saying, especially done for this activity?
Miss, could be maybe before asking them to do the writing, maybe well, what I sometimes do is to write on the blackboard some examples, maybe an example using because in this case, or an example using so that when they are looking for the adjectives or the words to use on their writing, well, maybe they can read on the blackboard, so they have this help, right? It's just an idea. I don't know if this is correct, right?
Because acuérdense que no hay ideas correctas o incorrectas, ¿ok?
Okay.
If my activity is this one, it's supposed that in the previous classes they saw this, ¿no? Ahora, si mi objetivo, si yo quiero planear, vamos a ver esto que sea la producción. Si yo voy a presentar so and because, esa es la presentation.
Yes.
Entonces, es que aquí, por ejemplo, I could make 2 lessons, ¿no? One for presenting and practicing so and because, and another session for the production activity because they are going to take very long.
If I take two days for example, for this page, Miss, so if the day before I saw the first part, so the second day, well, I write little examples on the blackboard so that they can like remember the topic, so they could do the writing in this case.
Okay.
Well, that's what I sometimes do, right? It's like a warm up or things like that, or I make some questions about what we studied the day before and things like that, right? Like a warm up.
Exactly. Yes. Entonces, we agree that we cannot have this presentation of conjunctions and the development of a piece of writing on the same class. Imagine that I delivered this part the previous class. I'm just going to focus on this, okay? On the final product. Entonces, if they are going to write a description, teacher Hector told me they don't know how to structure a description. Entonces, yes, the possible problem is okay. What in this specific case, they may struggle when describing places. Yes, teacher? Oh, students. Ese is the problem. What would be the solution for this specific problem para this specific activity? But also you have an example, como dijo la misa hace rato. I write an example and I direct their attention to the example I wrote on the board. Entonces, okay. Entonces, we have different solutions. Maybe my solution may work or may not work. Entonces, one, redirect students to the example so they can know or they can observe the way the adjectives are used. Students make an outline. Students make a brainstorm. Exactly. Very good. Entonces, for this activity, I'm going to have a possible problem. Ya detecté. Okay? All right. The following thing is the materials. For this, to carry out this activity, a specific activity, what is the material I'm going to use? Okay. A ver, vamos a ver. Okay, if you are going to guide them, flashcards. The student's book, notebook, or yes, notebook. And I don't know if you have something in the platform related to this. And maybe, no sé, capaz de que me encuentro un video describing a place. No sé, a lo mejor esto es extra. O something in the platform. No sé qué tengan en su plataforma. All right. Luego, ¿qué más necesito? The evaluation, the procedure. Ok. Excelente. Ahora, pues aquí vamos a poner. Vamos a poner el main aim, la estrella. ¿Ok? Entonces, based on this, let's write together our main aim. ¿Ok? Acuérdense, it needs to be smart. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, and the instruction is write a short description of a different place. Give information about things like sightseeing, festivals, places for relaxation, food, etc. Try to use the conjunctions because and so. Entonces, how I'm going to write my main name.
Could be students will be able to describe places. well, use in this case, using because and so, using that these conjunctions.
A ver, les voy a poner aquí la instrucción, ¿ok? And we need to make it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, saying who, what, where, when, why, and how, okay? I'm going to give you 1 minute to think about, okay? What would be, and write your main name, and we are going to make a brainstorm, okay? A ver, 1 minute.
Okay, Miss.
I have a question.
Yes.
The material, it's for, of course, for the lesson plan, but it also includes the remedial material we're going to use to overcome the gaps that we have been facing on, or not? It shouldn't be included.
Yes. For example, in here, bueno, if you detected this and you are giving the possible solution, if you are going to use something special, pues include it. Have it prepared in case you need it, because probably you are foreseeing this problem. And let me tell you, after each stage, after each activity, you need to have an evaluation and a remedial work. No puedo, if I know that they are struggling with shouldn't, ahora sí que they shouldn't continue having that problem with should. If the teacher is aware that they don't have very well learned should, pues you mustn't continue with the book. I know that is you need to ahora sí que literal, you need to fill in the book. But otherwise, if they have problems with possessive pronouns, no lo captaron bien, and if they have problems with should y no lo captaron bien, pero ya me voy a un description, a un final product, and I'm conscious because in here I'm stating or I'm aware, I'm conscious about the lacks or the weaknesses my students have, pues ahí the responsibility is not from the students, it's my responsibility. Because I in here, I left these loose things. You will realize about what I mean by the end of this lesson plan. And if you plan like this, you will avoid many of these problems. Pero on reality, pues if you tell me, es que they have problems with possessive, no sé, possessive pronouns, sí, pero ya tuviste una clase de eso, and you realize that they were not doing, why did you continue with the rest of the topics? If you see that, for example, this that is very basic is not okay, or the personal pronouns are not okay, why do you continue working like that? I don't know if I'm answering your question. So if you're aware like that and you evaluate the results of your classes, probably the possible problems and solutions are not going to be directed on language. They are going to be directed to more practical and yes, developmental problems during the class, Or maybe you don't necessarily need to have problems. Pues qué bueno que no tengo problems. Probably the time they will be so enthusiastic that they won't have enough time. Bueno, entonces I'm going to ask them, or I'm going to divide the activity in 2 sessions. Pero I cannot continue having problems with grammar because of the previous knowledge of related to the timetable fit, because I'm in charge of that. Entonces, I don't know. You tell me. No sé si contesté la pregunta, profe Efraín.
Yes, it was very, very useful. Thank you so much.
Ok, entonces aquí. I have the aim. The characteristics for the aim. This is the instruction. It's not the aim. It's the instruction of the activity. Entonces, who?
Students or learners.
Ajá, entonces
Students.
vamos a ponerlo aquí. The students. Ay, ¿por qué estoy escribiendo así? The students. What? Ok, a ver, Miss Lucely dice, students will be able to describe places, give information about them, using correctly enough the conjunction so and because when finishing this class, written or spoken. Okay, it's writing, okay? At the end of the lesson, students will be able to write a description of a known place or a place they would like to visit using conjunctions like so and because, okay? I
So
suggest,
should
I
be
su-
the writing, the piece of writing itself.
es que es un piece of writing porque estamos en writing. Y dice, write a short description.
Okay.
Entonces también nosotros tenemos como que evaluar los key points. What they are going to do, write a short description. Ahora, do you remember? Probably this is like a short paragraph, no? Or they are going to make a list because they are very basic. They are going to write sentences, no? Because it's basic one. Entonces, they are going to write sentences. To describe a different place, they are going to give information about the view. O sea, probably they may need to know the meaning of sightseeing. ¿Y qué es un sightseeing? Aquí es un possible problem and solution. Students may have problems understanding the instructions. Solution, teacher will highlight, no, will read the instructions together and highlight the keywords. Ahí está. Probably they don't have enough vocabulary because of the vocabulary that comes in the book to describe this. Solution, teacher, do you remember that we saw the writing process in module 1, where they needed to prepare or to gather all their ingredients? As you said, Mrs. Stephanie, to make a brainstorm, okay? But that is before they start writing. Entonces, maybe one of the activities I will need to do is to have or to follow the steps for the writing process. Not directly, pues escriban esto. No, no, no. I need to go step by step, okay? Questions about this? Aquí, por ejemplo, dictionary, and devices, ¿no? Los mobile phones, internet. Ahora, we were writing the main name, okay? Entonces, ¿dónde estaba? Ay, ¿dónde lo tengo? In here, for example, who? The students. Ya lo tengo aquí. The students. Recommendation. May, no will. Because in may, you have the possibility of succeeding or not. It's just the way you write the because will es que sí, ¿no? You may, you don't know. May be able to what? What they are going to do?
To write.
To write. What?
The description of a place they like or any.
A description. A description. You say, pero aquí nos faltó el when. By the end of, what do you consider? This writing should take only one session, 15-minute session, or 2 sessions at least?
Maybe 2 or more.
Because I think that to be done in one class is very ambitious, no? By the end of the following 2 sessions, comma, students may be able to write a description about acá, ¿a qué? Of a place or of about a
different
different place.
A place they like, maybe.
Mentioning
The special characters of the place.
A ver, vamos a ver. Physical characteristics. ¿Qué más?
And activities they could do there.
Of the place, ¿qué más? Las activities to be done. ¿Y qué más? A ver, vamos a
Maybe
ver
how is the weather in
Ajá,
a specific month? I don't know when is the best month to go.
Ok, pero People also visit. No, espérenme, ¿dónde estoy? Places for relaxation, food, etc.
Yeah, food, yeah.
Aquí will depend on how extensive you want the description to be. For example, if you consider that it's important to mention the weather, pues añádanlo. Or if you need to, for example, to enlist the different elements your students can describe, mention them, because sometimes they say, ¿pero qué escribo? Y le puedo poner que tiene patitos, y le puedo poner que, entonces, guide it. If they are very basic, guide your students and list all the things that they can mention.
Yes, because maybe we can check about the vocabulary they know, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
La cosa es que practiquen, no fastidiarlos. Ay, ¿me vas a poner quién es el presidente municipal? Pues no. Or describe something that they don't know yet. Pues no, o sea, you can ask them to describe because you can also observe and they can reaffirm previous knowledge that they didn't understood well. It's a sort of revision. Yes? Activities to be done based on the food, the traditional food. ¿Qué más? What else would you like your students to include?
Means customer can be, maybe.
Sorry?
Customers.
Customers, what do you mean?
Okay, when the people just have different activities in different days. For example, on the Merry Christmas, then the Christmas and the other, I don't know.
O sea, recommend places?
Maybe in a special place in the place, no, maybe.
Okay.
A monument or something.
Okay.
Maybe hotel and restaurants could be.
Okay, very good. Yo creo que eso se refería a la
Special places to be.
Okay, special. And good places. To recommend. No, pues yo te recomiendo la fonda de la señora Juanita. Recommend. Ajá, to recommend. Muy bien. Ya, tan se acabó. Ujú. Luego, try to use conjunctions because and so. Ajá, entonces, students may be able to write a description about a different place mentioning. Ajá. They need to use the conjunctions. O no, vamos a poner taking into account grammar, conjunctions, because, and so. They are going to write sentences, ¿verdad? Entonces, subject, verb, correspondence, punctuation, punctuation, and capitalization, spelling. Ajá. ¿Qué más tienen que tomar en cuenta? What do you think? What are the requirements? Algo que mencionamos aquí. And correct use of adjectives. ¿No? Because they are going to describe, pero aparte, in here they need to write because and so. Entonces there are two things related to grammar, okay? How I'm going to know is specific, pues they are going to write a set of sentences or a description. Ajá. Is measurable. Can I measure this objective? Measurable, I refer if they are in the basic, if they are able to do it, if they still struggle, or if they are capable. Do you remember? Beginner, intermediate, and advanced, or the beginner in development, average, capable, and highly effective. Is measurable, ¿no? Yo puedo decir quién está aquí, quién está en proceso y quién ya la libró. Is measurable, yes or no? Yes, because it's a productive skill, ¿no? Attainable, pues sí, porque they have already seen the vocabulary of conjunctions, they know how to use the adjectives, and they know how to make sentences when they so present simple. Entonces ya saben the correct allocation of different parts of a speech in a sentence. Entonces it's attainable. Relevant is important for the students. Yes, because they are going to talk about their favorite place. A place they like is free practice. Aquí no les estoy poniendo write a short description of Tangamandapio, pues no. They are free to choose, and probably they, in the writing process, they may investigate about that place because not necessarily is a place they know. as you said, a place they would like to know. Entonces they need to check and prepare the information in order to write the description, ¿no? Si yo quiero ir a Disneylandia y nunca he ido a Disneylandia, pues I need to investigate what happens there, ¿no? And is time bound? Yes, because I'm saying that they will have at least 2 sessions to do it. So I'm setting the limit of time. Entonces, do I fulfill all the SMART elements? Yes. Entonces, I can easily copy and paste my main name. Ahí está. Easy or difficult the way I need to write my main name?
Well, I mean, easy. Practice
Easy?
or two.
Okay.
Now that you show us, it's way easier than I expected.
Okay. Entonces, the first challenge is for the teacher to understand the instructions. What on reality my student and comprehend. Check. That's why it's very important to keep in mind the class profile, because the development of this specific activity will depend on the characteristic my students have. Acuérdense, don't focus on the negative aspects. Also take into account the positive aspects, because maybe you say, híjole, they are so enthusiastic that they are going to ask me for time to investigate about the place they would like to visit. Ajá, muy bien, teacher Hector, sí, exacto. Probably are things that we knew, but we weren't taking into account, okay? And also, we learned about deciding this thing, because based on this, por eso lo hice yo así primero. First, I wrote the class profile, el timetable fit, el assumption, el possible problem based on the task, and the material. And adding all this, I was able to write my correct main aim. Because I can commit the mistake of having a main name, pero la assumption es de otra cosa, pero el possible problem es de otra cosa, y así. Entonces así ya estoy uniendo todo. Ya, I already have all the information in my hand, and now I'm going to organize. That's why I wrote the main name at the end. So I have very clear the information here, okay? ¿Por qué marca tanto? Okay, dictionary, the dictionary devices. Okay, ahora, I already have this. Now I need to have the procedure. Ya tengo esta ya. Timetable feed, I have my aim, the assumption, the anticipated problems, the materials. I'm only missing the procedure and the evaluation. Okay? Entonces, do you remember the writing process? Yes or no? Si me dicen no, there's no problem. Si me dicen yes,
No, teacher, I don't remember.
son mis alumnos favoritos. Pre, during, more or less, teacher Stephanie. Ajá. More or less, more or less, more or less, ahí vamos. Sí, ahí vamos, ahí vamos. Ok. Hay más o menos. A ver. Voy a apagar mi cámara para que esto corra más rápido, porque si no se alenta. Okay? A ver, we said that for the writing process, we needed the understanding of the task.
Understanding, brainstorming, planning what to write. Those ones?
Yes.
I found my notes.
Okay, excelente. Muy bien. Aquí los tenemos. Entonces era, we have understanding the task, que actually this understanding the task is one of my possible problems, ¿no? Aquí está. Students may have problems understanding the instructions. I foresee that problem, but I'm going to have the solution in understanding the task. Luego I have the brainstorming. Ay, ¿dónde está? In here, may have problems with vocabulary, not enough repertoire. Tackled in the brainstorming. Planning what to write. Solve this problem. Luego, making a first draft. Luego, I have the editing the draft. Aquí. Entonces, probably in here can be self-evaluation because they observe, or you are redirecting the attention of the students to this example, because in here they have an example. Make a brainstorm, pues es part of the pre-writing, ¿no? Entonces este ya lo resolvimos. We follow the, okay, dictionaries, blah, blah. Pues I think that if we follow the writing process, we avoid most of these problems. So now you can see that this theory is landed here and is going to be useful. Entonces, in how many stages I'm going to divide my lesson? I need the leading, that is understanding the task, brainstorming, planning, making the draft, self-evaluation, and correcting or redirecting, and producing the final version. Entonces, at least they are 6 or 7, ¿ok? Entonces, procedure. Entonces, vamos a poner... Vamos a ponerle 8. Entonces, vamos a poner the warm up. The warm up o class routine. Entonces, class routine. call the, call the roll, check homework. Y como dijo la Miss, un revision of vocabulary, ¿no? Vamos a ponerle ¿qué será?
Can be word related. I like to do that at the beginning of the class. I revise my vocabulary from previous class by using it. Okay. Use your previous vocabulary class words and write 3 words related.
But maybe
I
that would be
as a
fine.
game,
If we are going to make, for example, this brainstorming, probably we are repeating the activity. O sea, yes, I like, de hecho, esa viene mucho o venía en el English Aware.
I would do it
Yeah, I like that very much.
like with a game, for example, maybe with a spelling bee, like playing with them. Like I spell the words and they write them. I spell quickly and they write them, and then we check previous vocabulary. I would do that as a warm-up.
Okay, perfecto. Do you remember more or less how long the warm-up should last? Like 8 minutes. Bueno. Ahora, the leading. Do you remember what the leading is? Setting the what. Yo aquí haciendo mi mímica y no me ven. Setting the what.
The context.
Exactly. What is the context?
Describing a place to travel. So maybe we can show them a picture.
Places. Places. Entonces, in here, do you remember the types of activities we can have as a lead-in? Short story, anecdote, or illicit pictures. Entonces, if they are going to describe a place they like or they would like to visit, what do you think from these 3 examples may be the best to lead in my activity?
I would use pictures of the places and saying if they know which place is it, what activities can you do there, or something like that.
Okay, elicitation of pictures. Okay. Probably from their community, no? So that would be very easy and they will recall the specific information and it's general information, okay? Entonces, teacher will elicit pictures of their community and of their community. Tan tan. Yes. Ahora.
Miss,
what is
Miss, I could also ask them the day before to bring a picture from a place where they were on vacation, maybe the
or
last
they
week,
would
something like that, or they would want to do, would like to go.
probably they have this visual aid to make the task. Yes, it can be.
Yeah.
Okay, entonces, I have already set the context. What is the first step in the writing process?
Understanding the task.
Understanding the task. Entonces, what they are going to do. Ahí ya, I'm going to deliver the instructions. Puedo poner writing process, understanding the task. In here, what the teacher will do. Teacher and students will identify keywords and information in the task instructions. Entonces, maybe I can say, read instructions and circle or underline. Okay? All right. Keywords. Okay. All right. What is the following step? Brainstorming. They are going to do it individually, in teams, or the group as a whole. Can be as a whole. Entonces, I can do something like this. Voy a poner aquí abajito como example. Entonces, teacher and students will make a word net to prepare the vocabulary needed to write the description. Teacher will invite students to search for vocabulary in a dictionary or online. Ahí está. What is the following step? Planning what to write. Entonces, probably here planning. They are basics, no? What kind of, based on what the possible problems you stated here, what can you do in this part? You can write examples. So probably here you can direct the students' attention to the example they have in their notebook, in their book. So they can follow it as a model. Entonces, teacher and students will analyze the sample from the book, and the teacher will direct students' attention to specific points like sentence convention, spelling, allocation, no, collocation, vamos a ponerlo. Collocation, que es adjectives, nouns. So you present this. They have already understood the instructions. They have prepared their vocabulary. And now they have the example. Ahora, making their first draft. Ya. Yes, you are going to have it. Making a draft, for example. Entonces, what is the objective in here? Students will start writing their sentences in their notebooks the teacher will monitor and provide help. Aquí nada más dice monitor and provide help. No dice va a calificar, a decirle, quítale, ponle, etc. Okay? All right, just monitoring. Okay? And detect, remember, I detected if they are committing the same mistake, entonces, when they finish making the draft, I direct their attention, I make the correction, I provide the feedback in general, and probably I give them 1 minute or 2 to check their piece of writing and correct, okay? All right. Then, after making the first draft, pues tenemos this evaluation part, ¿no? Editing draft. Entonces aquí, ¿qué se les ocurre que podemos hacer? If they have the example, the teacher should correct and use the editing marks or what the students can do. A ver, díganme.
I'm sorry, could you clear up what is editing draft again?
Editing draft is when you are telling the students what they did wrong without correcting. So they receive the paper, they reflect, and they fix it.
Okay, but we are not writing down any notes.
No, just highlighting. So you are forcing your students to analyze and think.
Okay, I got it.
If they have the example, what do you think they can do?
to copy from the example.
To
Or
copy
make to
from the
compare.
Okay. Compare, exactly. A ver, chécate cómo está. ¿Dónde ponen las comas, los puntos, los periods? Or even they can exchange in pairs and check.
Or maybe paraphrase.
Paraphrase. No, porque estamos checando el piece of writing they did. Entonces tenemos option 1. Exchange with a partner, ¿no? Obviously lo voy a poner con un partner que le ayude, ¿verdad? No voy a poner two of these very basic students together. Ya, I have detected that I have 4 students that are on their expected level. Pues don't put them together, okay? Ask them to write with someone. Exactly, teacher Héctor, muy bien. Ay, yo creo que usted se va a ganar un premio especial, un chocolate o algo. Ok, lo voy a invitar a que vaya a la tienda y compre su chocolate, porque no se lo puedo dar físicamente. Exchange with a partner and check. Ajá, y ahorita les voy a dar un tip. Compare with the model. Ajá. Reflect on the teacher's feedback, porque acuérdense que you were monitoring, ajá, and you were making notes y chin, le están regando aquí. A ver, chicos, remember that you this and this and that y that. A ver, check, ajá, that is part of the editing. And also, que se los di en el classroom, teachers, no me digan que no lo vieron. Y en el English Aware viene muchísimo eso, yo se los puse. In English Aware, you have a table with some aspects to take into account, ¿no? Incluí capital letters o periods. Usé correctamente el vocabulario. Yes, you have those tables in English Aware, ¿no?
Yes.
Ese es your checklist. Or you can give them a checklist. Ajá. When you are giving the instructions, ajá. Identifying the keywords. A ver, compare your piece of writing with the important keywords from the instructions. And you told them, be careful because what I'm going to evaluate is spelling, grammar, punctuation, capitalization y bonita letra. Entonces they go back to this checklist and they see if they fulfill all the aspects. Okay? After editing the draft, I have a correction or a redrafting. Students make or apply, más bien, corrections. Aha. Published means to be shared with others if they are going to read it, Or if they are going to deliver something, probably you can ask them on a piece of paper, write the description and below the picture. So you can display the different pieces of writing and they can have some minutes to walk over the place and read each other's descriptions. And then you take them and um, you correct them and you grade them. Entonces, these are the different stages in which I divided this specific class that was about writing. I consider that if I use this writing process, the students are going step by step in a very easy and guided way in order to achieve this goal. If they are going to take into account this main name, is part of the criteria to evaluate. So based on this, I'm going to decide if the students did it or not. Entonces, I'm going to check that they really include characteristics, activities to be done, the best time to visit the place, the traditional food, the special places to visit or the recommendations to visit. And talking about the structure, pues the grammatical structure, so that they include the grammatical features in the piece of writing, and because they are going to write sentences in this occasion, pues that they have these elements. Entonces, this is my criteria for me, teacher, to evaluate. That's why it's really important that I share as part of the instruction. Aquí yo le voy a poner con rojo, no me gusta, con purple y negritas. Share the main name with students. So in here, they know exactly what I'm going to take into account at the end of this activity, okay? Or these two lessons. The lesson plan is not complete yet. Le faltan cosas. Okay. We are going to continue analyzing the lesson plan. Homework. Y aquí voy a pausar el video porque esto es confidencial.